Welcome everyone to this brand new course called Introduction to JavaScript Programming. This course is open for anyone that wants to learn programming or JavaScript programming language. But before you take this course, I highly recommend you have a basic knowledge of HTML and CSS. If you don't have any prior knowledge in HTML and CSS, you can take this course, but I highly recommend you do that. And I'm sure anyone listening to me here wants to be a programmer or is already a programmer and wants to learn JavaScript. It's worth it. Big ups. I've taken a quote from our big man Steve Jobs, who is the co-founder of Apple Incorporation, and he says everyone in this country should learn how to program a computer because it teaches you how to think. It's really awesome to program a computer because programming is all about problem solving, and it will boost your thinking capacity and your problem solving skills. So it's worth it learning how to program a computer. In the course of this tutorial, we'll be going through some stuff in the language. I'll be taking you guys through what is JavaScript program, what the JavaScript programming language is all about. We'll be going through at how to print hello world, how to work with the developer console, variables, data types. We'll be working with statements, condition, arrays, objects, functions. Also be working with DOM manipulation, asynchronous programming. And if you're coming from any programming language background, you will realize that the way you print hello world over there might not be the same you print hello world. The syntax will differ from the way you print hello world in JavaScript. Also, statements, condition, arrays, you'll find that the syntax are similar and are far close, are even the same, honestly. Okay, what is JavaScript? JavaScript is a dynamic computer programming language. It is lightweight and is commonly used as part of web pages. Primarily or initially, JavaScript was developed or created to add interactivity to websites, to make websites dynamic. JavaScript allows us to make websites more interactive by accessing and modifying the content and markup used in a web page. So we can use JavaScript to access the content of a website. We can also use JavaScript to modify the content of a site and react to events. When we get to DOM manipulation, you have a solid understanding of all these. What can we do with JavaScript? Initially, as I said earlier on, JavaScript was primarily developed to make websites dynamic or to add dynamic content to websites. But with the growth of JavaScript today, you can use JavaScript to do pretty much anything you want. You can use JavaScript to build mobile apps. If you're looking forward to be a mobile app developer or you want to learn mobile app development, you can use JavaScript to do that. This is pretty awesome. You can also use JavaScript to build desktop applications that run on all operating systems, Linux, Windows, and Mac. This is also pretty awesome. If you're also looking forward to build your own games, you want to be if you want to be a game developer, you can use JavaScript to build games that run on the browser. Okay, in this tutorial we'll be using some code editors and web browsers, and let's head on to Google and see. Okay, we have a code editor called Atom. Atom is free and is open source, was built by GitHub. You can install it on your PC. For this tutorial, it's free. You can also use Visual Studio Code, which was built by Microsoft. When you come here, you are using Mac, you can install. You are using Windows, you can also install, and Linux. It's also free. You can also use Sublime Text, which is also free and is open source. You can also use Firefox as your preferred browser, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I will be using Google Chrome. Okay. Now, what is developer console? When you are coding, you are programming, you are prone to errors, you are exposed to errors, you are going to make mistakes and you need to fix them. Basically, programmers will say you need to debug your errors. For instance, when you are coding with JavaScript, your output is on the browser, but you wouldn't see your mistakes, you wouldn't see your errors. If you make an error and you preview your solution on the browser, you won't see the error. So in order to see the error or the bug, you need to open your developer console. For instance, I'm going to build a simple application that will just print the multiplication of two numbers on the browser. Then after we'll make a mistake, then we'll refresh on the browser again to see what happens. Don't worry if you don't understand what I'm going to say or what I'm going to do right now. You have an understanding of it when we get to functions. Okay, let's say function multiply. Then we say what? We are just going to find the area of a rectangle like that. So which is what? Height. Okay, then we say return this parameter by this parameter. Okay, then let's output it on the browser. Let's give it what arguments. Let's say we want to multiply 5 by 5, which we all know we are going to get 25. Let's save and preview the page. You say what? The page says what? 25, which is what? The multiplication of. Let's change this to 4. You're expected to get what? 20, right? Let's refresh. The page says 20. Now let's make a mistake here. For instance, let's just say area. Let's change the width to area. It doesn't really make sense because we've given this parameter width, and here we are saying area. Where is area? We've not defined any area. Let's save it. Let's refresh. Nothing happens, and you'll be like, how? You are stuck. Don't worry. All you have to do is right click on your mouse, go to inspect, head on to console, see what happened. Uncaught reference error. Area is not defined on this line. The browser doesn't understand what the area is because you've not defined it. It's undefined. So all you have to do is let's change it back to the width. Let's come and refresh. See what happens. The page and the error is gone. This is what we mean by developer console. We'll work with the developer console very well in our next slides. Okay, let's delve into what? JavaScript. What is variables? A script will always have to store the bit of information it needs to do its job. It can store this data in variable. Picture a variable as a container where you store data, and if you want to refer to this data, you just name your variables. When you write JavaScript, you have to tell the interpreter every individual step that you want it to perform. This sometimes involves more detail than you might expect. For instance, let's say we want to what? Let's delete this. For instance, let's say we want to what? Multiply. We want to find or want to solve the solution for the area of a rectangle, which is width times height. In mathematics, in normal mathematics, you will just say area is equal to width times height. But when we are working with JavaScript, you need to give the interpreter a detailed explanation to what you actually mean. For instance, we'll save this. JavaScript, remember the value of width. Also remember the value of height. Then after that, multiply the value of width by the height and get the area. Then what do you do next? Display, or you output display our solution, our final solution. Display the solution to the user. This is in a CD code format. This is what you tell the interpreter, and it will come. Okay, this is the value of width, this is the value of height. Okay, I need to multiply the width by the height to get our area. Then I will print this out to the user. Okay, Yeah, so this is what we mean a variable. Okay, now before you use a variable in JavaScript, you need to what? Announce that you want to use it, and you have to what? Create it. Or basically programmers will say you need to declare a variable, and you declare a variable or you create a variable with the keyword name var. I'm putting this in caps, var. This is how you create a variable. You start by saying var, and JavaScript will understand that you mean a variable. So then it followed by the name of the variable, which let's say var message. This is our variable name, message, and this is what? Our variable var keyword. Now this is valueless, if I may say that way. There's no value assigned to it. We've only created the variable, but we've not initialized it. Initialization is when we assign a value to the variable. Now let's initialize it. Let me come. In JavaScript, you want to what? Make a comment. This is what you do: // you say okay, this is what? Declaration of a variable. We've successfully declared it. Let's initialize, or let's give it a value. Initialization. Now when we want to initialize it, let's just say message, then this equal to, that's assignment operator. Message is equal to, because it's a string, you bring double quote, then you say hello world. You've assigned this value. The hello world is the value, and the variable name is what? Message. Now it has a value. It will store this value in this what? Variable name called what? Message. Okay, so but for better readability, you initialize and declare on one single line. So you say var message, which is equal to hello world. We've declared and we've initialized our variable, which when we want to use it, when we want this hello world to be output on the browser, all we have to do is, let's say alert, then we call it our variable name message. That's all. First of all, let me comment out this. No, let me uncomment it. Okay, so we said var message got hello alert world message. Let's see what happens on the browser. We'll save it. Let's refresh. See what happens. Hello world. We've output hello world on our browser. So this is a basic word, basic syntax to initialize a variable. We declare it or we create it, and we assign a value to it. Okay, let's do this. We can also have, let's calculate for the area of a rectangle. Okay, so with what we did the other time, that remember. So let's say var width, we are initializing it. Var width is equal to, we've created it like that. Var width, we've already created it, and we'll assign it to a value. Say the width of our rectangle should be 20. Then we say var height, we are initializing our height too, and we say it should be what? 20. Then we'll say our area is equal to our width times our height. Okay, now let's say alert our area. Let's see what happens. Let's save it. Let's preview it on the browser and see. 400. That's what? 20 times 20. Let's change it to plus. Let's save it. let's preview it. It say 40, 20 plus 20, that's 40. So this is what? Area of a rectangle. This pretty much easy. Let's say we want to what? Just find the details of a user. So let's say var, we can say var name is equal to Alex, age is equal to 40. Maybe message, Alex, do you have any message for us? Alex says yes. What is your message? Alex says happy coding. With what? Initialize it on a single line, but for better readability you put it on separate what? Lines. So we say var name is equal to Alex, put a comma here, age is equal to 40, comma, message is equal to happy coding. That's all. Then maybe we want to see the name output on the browser. We can say Alex name. What do you expect? You want to see Alex output on the browser, but before that, let's comment out this. Let's see what happens. Let's save, let's refresh. What happens? You see Alex there. What if you don't want to see the name of Alex, but you want to see the name of the age of Alex? You put age. What do you expect? You expect to see 40, right? Let's preview 40. Okay, Alex, we want to know if Alex has given any message, so we'll say message. Let's save it. Has Alex given any message? Let's see. Let's put, and we say happy coding. Alex gave a message of what? Happy coding. So this comes handy. Okay, and if you also want to see it on the console, you just say console.log name, save, refresh. You won't see anything because it's outputted on the what? Console. You can hit F12 if you are on what? Mac, Google Chrome to open your browser. You can also right click and go to inspect, then go to console. You see Alex outputted. So this basic variables, and this is how you declare and initialize a variable. We'll be delving deep into variables and how to use variables to do awesome stuff in our course. Thank you.